Projections. In the course of doing business, regardless if social or commercial, almost any entrepreneur will find herself in the situation of having to look forward into the future. Regardless if done for a loan application or to determine if staffing plan is sustainable, financial projections need to be made as accurately as possible based on the best information available at the time of the planning. So, what would be the best assumption at the time of the planning? When historical information is available, there is a best practice to start from past achievement. The assumption behind this is that if nothing changes, the clients will continue to purchase the products and services at the same level in the foreseeable future. But rarely market realities remain flat throughout the time. Hence, historical-based assumptions need to be adjusted with market dynamics expectations. Let's take the very simple case discussed in the previous chapter, performance management. First, you would need to decide the structure of the product portfolio. Would you keep product 2 or discard of it? Why? How about product 1? What would be your basis of forecasting revenues and costs for this product? In order to make realistic projections, more details on historical performance would be needed. So let's try it now. Product 1. We notice the increase in revenue is due to an increase in volume sold. This might show strengthening of the market, building consumer preference, or perhaps weakening competition. Before projecting year 3 revenue, ask yourself the following questions. Is the price going to stay the same? Is it safe to assume that the volume levels of year 2 will maintain in year 3, increase by 25%, which is the percentage growth between year 1 and year 2? Whatever the answer to these questions, it needs to be supported by internal and external data. For example, let's assume that you want to increase the prices by 10%. Why do you plan for this increase? To be in line with competition, cover additional costs connected to product upgrade? Is 10% that a significant increase as compared to inflation rate? Will customer react negatively to this increase in prices and decrease purchases? How about volumes? Say that 25% increase between year 1 and year 2 is due to acquiring a new customer. Was the 1,000 unit purchase a one-off, or is that expected to continue in the future? For accurately projecting sales, it is important to understand the causes of historical variations, the likelihood they repeat in the future, the market dynamics. Analogously, we notice unit costs has risen from 18 per unit to 20 per unit. What caused this variation? Was it an increase in supplier price, change of bill of material that trigger a larger quantity to be used, or perhaps more expensive materials? Is this increase due to operational inefficiencies? Knowing the exact cause of unit price increase, you apply sound judgment and determine whether unit costs will likely stay flat or expected to increase over time. It will also give you the more realistic estimation of cost in the foreseeable future. In financial forecast, it is a good practice to project conservatively, which means the revenues will be projected at the lowest figure out of several outcomes possible, and expenses at the highest or least moderate figure out of several outcomes possible. For projecting all other costs, you need to identify what drives these costs and how are they connected with changes in revenue. For example, labor costs recorded an increase of 160%, which changed the proportion of labor costs from 5% from revenue to 10% of revenue. This might be due to an overall increase in salaries, production bonuses, or changes in staff structure. The question to be asked is this change permanent? Are salary increases planned in the future? In what amounts and when? Are new hires going to join the team? What would be their seniority level and compensation? It is safe to assume that a certain size of production team will have a limited capacity of production. Hence, increases in revenue levels need to come with step increases in labor costs as production teams exhaust their capacity. Other costs such as utilities and maintenance might have different drivers. For example, utilities expenses will most likely vary with production levels, while maintenance expense will depend on the size and age of production infrastructure. In the present case, 4,000 units of product 1 generate 5,000 as utilities expense. Extrapolating 5,000 units of product 1 sold in year 2 will consume utilities in amount of 6,250. Hence, the balance of 3,750 could be attributed to product 2, representing 4% of revenue generated by product 2. Maintenance expense has doubled. This is either because product 2 needs a different infrastructure to be produced, or perhaps equipment is aging and needs more frequent servicing. If the latter, then progressive increase in these expenses need to be taken into consideration when projecting for the remaining useful life of assets. Product 2. This product requires a strategic decision on whether to be discontinued or not. In year 2, it is sold 100,000 worth of revenue, 1/4 of product 1. Whether this is an achievement or not, it needs to be analyzed versus competition and market trends. However, the main problem with this product is that it's sold for 200 per unit and consumed materials are worth 568 per unit, almost 3 times the price before even considering labor costs. Hence, in deciding to continue product 2, you must make sure that either high material costs are due to operational causes, perhaps overconsumption of material due to learning curve, first production cycle, that can be remediated through mitigating actions. Or, if 568 is the real material costs and production is streamlined, then this should be passed on to the customer via price increases. With a very short history of being into existence, Product 2 has a weaker base for projection on historical performance. Hence, external market data will be highly relevant as well as internal capacities. For example, it is to be determined if the team structure that gave rise to labor costs of 164,000 is the optimum for this product and whether the team worked at full capacity. Computation of break-even point for this product would be useful, as well as comparison with the market. Will the enterprise be able to achieve the market share that would allow it to at least cover variable and allocated fixed costs to product 2?